prep is in full effect. It's next weekend at Englishtown Raceway Park. This is the backup car for the backup car. It's always been plagued by clutch issues, but I think we finally got it figured out. It's got a twin disc now, and she's feeling right.
Even though I have the Nismo gearbox in this car, it is known to still be somewhat weak, so we've been going through kind of softer clutches to try to save the gearbox. But the problem is once I start getting the car hot, the clutches start to cook. So what we did is we went up to a twin disc that should dissipate heat better, but it's still on the softer side, so it's not like we're consistently shocking the drivetrain. And in that footage, I don't know if you could hear or tell, I was trying to get everything really hot, do a lot of clutch kicks, put a lot of heat and RPM through everything to try to see if it would fail or start to slip, because that's when the old setups would start to go. They were fine doing street pulls, they were fine on the first couple laps, but if I was hot lapping at an event, I'd feel it start to slip, and then that would be no fun. So now she's good to go. This thing should be ready to rock at E-Town if I need her. The plan is to drive the 4-rotor car more than anything, but if that one acts up and if the FD car isn't really like working well with everyone else's cars, I've got the good old trusty green stallion to go have some fun in. One of the biggest missing pieces for both the FD car and for the Supra leading up to the World Tour is liveries. And I brought out the man, the myth, the legend, Jay from JZ Wraps. Yes, so we actually met at FD, was it Texas?
Yes. Yeah, FD Texas.
And Jay came out to help us put the livery on the car after I probably crashed or did something along that accord. And it was really cool working with him, so we brought you out and then you did the yellow Chaser. Yeah. It came out awesome, and I wanted both of these cars to look top notch, so I knew who to call.
Hell yeah.
He came out here with his crew, and they're gonna show you guys what they do on both cars.
What's up, guys? So we just did the front bumper. Still got some inlays and stuff to do. This was definitely the hardest part of the whole, livery job, but most of the hard part's done now. So we're gonna finish doing the inlays on it and move to the sides and the rear.
The inlays are just the hard to reach spots.
Yeah, the MK5 bumper is one of the more difficult bumpers to rep, so you got to run the inlays. I mean, as long as they're done right, they're pretty seamless. But yeah, working on those still. Yeah. And from there, I mean, it should be cakework, honestly. The rest is fairly straightforward. Yeah.
Sweet.
On this livery design, I worked with a guy by the name of John Sabal. If you haven't heard of him, he is a gangster in the world of 3D design, rendering, liveries. He's made some of the craziest wide bodies. He's done crazy liveries, and the fact that he was able to take my project on last minute was an insane honor. We literally were meeting on Zoom when I was in Japan at like wee hours of the night, and this is what we came up with. You guys are about to see it on the car, but I'd say that the coolest thing of working with John was the fact that he knows how to use all this 3D modeling software, and we were able to figure out like optimal placements for not only body lines, but how stickers would lay. And it really opened my eyes as to like on some of these like real deal liveries, how much thought and attention goes into little details of space between sponsor stickers, where body lines go to create flow, and you'll see more on the car, and I'll be able to talk to you once it's done. But I'm super happy with what we came up with. If you can't see the resemblance, it actually started based on the 787B livery. He has a really cool rendering that he did actually with that livery on a new Supra, which is kind of where we started in the beginning. Then we morphed that with an inspiration from a Mazda GTO car, which I'll put on the screen, and it started to look a little bit too advanced, so we added some other details, and this is what we came up with. But I'm excited to see how it looks in the car. Jay and his team's killing it. They're so awesome to work with, and I'm really excited to see how the car comes out.
Well, the motor is back in. I'm redoing the hard lines on top of the motor. I don't know if you can capture this, but I put straight fittings going out of the plates. These two ports here that supply oil. So we were only working on one that supplied oil for all of them. So now I'm gonna use both. One will go out, and then the other one. The only problem is we have three, and then two ports. So I got a Y-6Y that they will split into two. So we'll have plenty of oil to feed the plates. Then I welded two. We took these bungs out that were like here. And then I welded some AM fittings on those two, and then we'll send those together with this one up to the breather, so the engine could breathe a little more. It's, you know, showing signs that it needs more venting, and so I'll get that done. Confirm my plugs for the coils that are in the right position, and crank the motor over, check for leaks, coolant leaks, oil leaks. Once we get that figured out, or good, then we could jump into tweaking some of the wiring to make the car work for the event.
We're gonna weld this tab on here so we can put the quarter panel back on.
She's been a little rough over the years.
You may have noticed the wheels changed on the 34. Made a little Instagram post about it. And after reading comments, I realized I really missed the boat on not having a full video dedicated just to changing the wheels. So unfortunately, all you get is this quick 2-second mention in the video. I do kind of like it though.
What do you think, Mike?
I think it looks good. I wish there was a little more silver elsewhere.
The true story behind it was the OG bronze T's that I had on the car are like irreplaceable. Cannot find them anywhere else. And for whatever reason, Colette always wants me to drive this car whenever we go on dates. And the R888s were driving me nuts. I had these wheels stashed in GTR fitment because I was thinking about putting them on the R33. And I decided, you know what? I feel confident enough to mount NT01s to it. So I put NT01s on it. And this is like the best the car's ever driven on the tires. McDonald's make me stupid. I was going somewhere with that. I had something I was gonna. Oh yeah, I probably could have made a whole video. I have never just jacked up one corner of this car at a time. It is miserable because the body kit and everything hangs so low, and I would think I was just like too unbelievably careful when I was mounting the tires. And like Jeff was here and he helped me ceramic coat them so they're all good to go. And then
Fry goes in the mouth.
did you know McDonald's has new spicy chicken nuggets?
I did not.
I haven't tried them yet. Do you want to try one?
Sure.
Let's go. Chicken nuggets. How do we know which are spicy?
They're probably red.
No. Oh my god.
Yup.
Damn.
Typical fast food.
I never liked spicy food until, also this is probably the first time I've had McDonald's in like a year. I also, actually this is probably a lie, but I don't eat it that often, I promise. Chicken tikka masala put me on the spicy food. Real talk. I'm not a big sauce guy. I like to still taste the chicken. Colette, she's a scooper. She'll use one packet per chicken nugget. It's not really that spicy. It's just got a little more flavor.
One thing I've constantly been talking about since this car was completed is dialing in the engine bay. Tommy did an absolutely fantastic job. However, there are a few things that we were kind of left with not the most ideal appearance just because of time circumstances. One of which is the breather lines being draped over the valve cover, and then the other thing is running a filter rate on the turbo. I don't like this for two reasons. One, the air here is kind of hot opposed to like sticking a little farther, but more importantly, you don't get the nice turbo sound. So when you hear like really good flutter from not having a blow-off valve or really good induction noise, it's actually from the sound echoing inside the pipe. I've found that like a 45-degree angle about this long kind of gives me that sweet choo-choo-choo-choo-choo. So hopefully I'll be able to put one here, but the problem is, of course, the catch can setup gets in the way. Now with RBs, there are some good solutions in the market, but they all put the catch can right up here. And RBs, they usually breathe a lot. They fill up catch cans with oil when you have heads that are filling up with oil. And you don't want that on your hot side because that can create a fire. There are a few like old school like JDM solutions that would go here if you relocate the battery to the trunk, but I also didn't want to do that just because for whatever reason I'm not a big battery in the trunk type of guy. So I did find a solution, and it's from the guys over at Driver Motorsport. Kind of cool. It uses a different aftermarket battery and it basically sandwiches in here, and they were able to do it in a nice wrinkle black finish, which kind of ties in with the other stuff going on in the engine bay. This will keep it far away from the hot side. It's got pretty good capacity, good baffling, but fortunately enough, this engine, I've seen literally not one drop of blow by, which RBs, not very common, but knock on wood, hopefully it stays that way. So I gotta take the battery out, reconfigure some stuff. Eventually I want to relocate the oil filter, but I'm hoping I don't need to do that right now and I can just pop this in. Worried that I won't have enough room to move these lines. It's gonna be tight. I don't want to put too much tension on them.
Maybe disconnect it from the strut tower or loosen it. That way this has some wiggle room. And then reconnect it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's really tight. And this bend is what's...
Maybe if we take this off, we'll be able to see.
Yeah, like what's going on over there.
Yeah.
So UP Garage USA actually makes a bracket that mounts this down on the diff, which is what my plan is, but until that comes, I really want to get this sorted, and that way I can start building the intake setup. So yeah, I'm just gonna put 45 fittings on this, which should give me a nice comfortable flare here while not pushing the filter up against the housing. To wait for another day when I get the bracket bracket for this guy, because even with me putting 45 in here to get this bend, I basically like can't have a radiator shroud at all, because this needs to sit like more in than it is right now, and that's just not gonna work with that bend.
And then you have to extend the lines anyway. And all
Yeah,
that
it's
stuff.
just it's not a thing for today, unfortunately.
It's worth a shot.
Yeah, I was able to make it work. I'm not happy about it. It's definitely putting a little bit more stress on the lines than I'd like. It's nothing I'm uncomfortable with, but it's definitely not something that's ideal. So I'm gonna message the boys over at UP Garage and say I need that oil filter relocation stat. Like yesterday. Not my proudest work. Awesome product. Poor execution from Adam. This actually is a very cool solution from Radium. I actually have the same ones in my Evo, and they work like a charm, and they have brackets that mount them like right to the strut tower. In this case though, I just don't want to have the lines running over the valve cover. I guess it would actually it would look pretty good, something like this. But again, I don't have them running over the valve cover, and we're way too cluttered over there. If I didn't have the oil filter, like I thought about possibly popping this here, and that would work. Yeah. But this is kind of cool, and it looks like not sus. Like it looks stockish, I guess. But now I can move the filter.
Convenient pipe you found.
Look, I'm borrowing it off another car just to test fit and figure out if I want to use a 45 or a 90. This looks like a 45. Let's pop her on. So it's like almost perfect, just the power steering is like ever so slightly in the way.
Well, now you gotta hit up UP Garage and get a custom power steering reservoir.
Do they make that?
I don't know.
To get this to lay where I want, I would probably cut this pipe a tad bit shorter just to get the filter to kind of land right in this pocket. Then I could angle it downward a little bit too. I'll also end up probably Cerakoting or doing like a wrinkle black powder coat on this. And I want to Cerakote the HKS cover. I actually don't hate that it's chrome. I just want to delete all the silver in the bay and like make it black. Only silver, I think it will be the ARC radiator. And I'm going to do this in wrinkle black too. So just the valve cover pops in a sea of black.
Yeah, I can see that.
I'm gonna turn it on and rev it, and you might be able to hear a difference revving. I'm not sure, but I'm really excited to not have the valve cover covered with lines now. I feel like it's louder.
Yeah.
All right, let's go drive it. On today's episode of Can We Hear a Difference? I feel like it's a decent difference. It's not huge or insane. I really got to delete the blow-off valves because then we'll get the flutter.
Yeah.
The flutter is what it's missing.
You can hear a lot more whistle now.
Yeah, it's still nice and subtle though.
Yeah. I heard a little flutter,
Yeah.
but it got choked out.
Blow-off valves.
Yeah.
The enemy.
Kill all blow-off valves.
That'd be a fun shirt.
Yeah.
Garrett wouldn't like that though. They suggest running blow-off valves with their turbos, but I know they're good enough to sustain no blow-off valve. Don't quote me though, because your turbo won't get warranted if you do any damage. But I do it on every car, and it's fine. I'm satisfied with the noise.
Yeah.
The horsepower gain will be great.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
All right, on to the next thing. I'm super happy with how the car came out. The biggest inspiration for it was keeping it simple, clean, like the old school JGTC cars. John Sabal knocked out the livery and it looked amazing in such crazy time. And then Jay from Jay-Z Wraps and his crew from Texas, they came out and they did an amazing job. What we thought was gonna be a very simple livery install turned out to be pretty detailed and actually a lot of like almost pinstripe work. But I think he nailed it. It looks almost identical to the rendering. Got a few little final tweaks in regards to ride height and stuff to get the car perfect. Some mechanical things to sort out. In the next video, we'll dive into that and like all the other chaos that's going on before the World Tour. But more than anything, hope you guys like the livery. I'm stoked. I'm always gonna love how the car looked when it was red, but the car was never destined to stay just plain red street car. So I hope you like my departure from what I would normally do in a livery, and I look forward to seeing all you guys in English Town this weekend for the World Tour. See you there.
When you said